One of my previous videos, I showed you 7 tips on buying land in Arizona. And in the comments, Jeremy asked, how can you do it for an online sale? In other words, if you want to buy this yourself without an agent, that's right, I said it, without an agent, through an online sale, how can you check the zoning, which is your responsibility? Well, I'll link the 7 tips here, and today we're going to show you how to check zoning on land. Hi folks, and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to show you how to find land on your own and how to check zoning and other information to make sure that you're buying what you want. If you were my client, I could do this through the MLS to search for different size properties, different costs for properties, things that have water, sewer, electric. But if you really want to go out on your own, find your own little homestead, using the tips that I gave you in the video on buying land in Arizona, here's some clues for you, some hints and some tricks to help you along the way. First thing, of course, is you have to find some land. So how can you do that? Well, there's a couple different websites you can go to. So the first one we'll go to is landsearch.com. And if we want to find areas near us, we can put whatever city we want. We'll do a search, and you can see all the different land that pops up. Now, some of this is pretty expensive, particularly if it's in a build-up area. So if you're looking in like the city of Phoenix, you see $3 million, $975. And you know, when you look at the size of this parcel, it's only not even a quarter acre because that is built up. But if you're looking for raw land, then one place I would recommend is outside the city itself in 2 main areas. Number one is Whispering Ranch. This is just north of the Toyota Motors Proving Ground, and you can see various property costs in this area. And the other one is west of the valley, west of the White Tanks, almost to Tonopah. Now these prices are just a little bit higher than Whispering Ranch. If we took a look at one of these, for instance, this is 2.5 acres, looks like raw land. You have a neighbor here. So these are probably 2.5 acre parcels all the way around in this area. Now when you have neighbors, that's potentially not a bad thing because they may have already drilled a well. There may be electric running out there. If they will allow a shared well agreement, you can tap into their well, and usually that arrangement constitutes a monthly cost for the upkeep of the well. Usually that money is put in escrow in case the well needs to be replaced, the pump, or other maintenance that has to occur with those wells. In cases like that, if you have a low volume well, then you definitely want to have water tanks on that property. So you fill that water tank up and then you use it as you need it, and the well will replenish it. Let me go back out to Whispering Ranch because it was a little bit less expensive out that way. And this is out near Wickenburg, halfway between Phoenix, this intersection here of US 60 and the 303 loop, and Wickenburg is up here, and you can see lower costs. And one of the lowest cost properties is actually out here at $22,500. Now this one, because of the color change, we know this one's under contract. So let's look at the next lower one at $30,000. That's 4 acres of property out there for $30,000. So if we click on this, this is where you're starting to do your due diligence. You're trying to find the information about that. If the agents who posted this did everything they should, you'll have all the information you need to check on this property. Here they're going to fluff up the property for you, let you know how great it is, and then it's going to give you, in this case, the parcel number, which is very important for you. Also the legal description. What I'd want you to do is copy that parcel number, and then we're going to go to 2 different locations. The first is the Maricopa County Assessor. Links for all these will be left in the description of the video. I'm going to paste this in, and I'm going to hit enter, and I'm going to see what comes up. Yep, so we got Whispering Ranch Unit 3 Parcel 84. If we go back over here, we're going to see this. This is Unit 3, Block 2. If we use this is the correct assessor parcel number, then it's going to give us the information on this. It's going to show us the lot size, and an acre is 43,560 square feet. So you can divide this to make sure you're getting the size property you want. So you go 178,254 divided by 43,560, and we're going to get just a little bit over 4 acres in this property. It shows the school districts here. It also gives the section, the township, and the range, which are important for identifying where this property is located generally. And then we'll go down and take a look at what taxation is for this. Full cash value on this property in 2025 is $46,500. Limited value is $10,132, and then that's used to calculate your taxes. In this case, the assessed limited property value is $1,520. You multiply that by 15% to find out what your taxes are, and you can actually check taxes by clicking this link. and it shows you that's $93 a year. You should recognize that if you build on this land, your full cash value and your limited value are going to go up, but your assessment ratio will go from 15% to 10%. Vacant land is taxed at 15%, whereas residential is taxed at. So that's basic information we needed. It's helpful. Doesn't quite show the zoning for us though, so we're going to go to another website, and this is Maricopa County's Planning and Development. It's an ArcGIS, or Geographic Information System, and let's find out what our zoning is by clicking here. We're going to again paste in that APN, which is that assessor parcel number. We're going to look for search results for this one. We see it here. We're going to click on that, and it's going to take us right to the property. Now, the color of this is very important. You see this is sort of a yellowish color, and we can see that this is 50391 359. Now, we can also see, if I go to map layers, I can check zoning here, click on zoning, and if we back out just a little bit, we'll see the color changes around the periphery of this. Down here at the bottom, we're going to bring up the legend, and this zoning legend will tell us basically by color code what this zoning is, but it's also written in many different places on this map. We'll show you in a minute. This one is the lightest yellow we can possibly get, so this is RU190, and we'll talk about what RU190 is, as well as RU43, which is very common in the area of raw land. If we back out just a little bit more, you'll see that it actually lists RU190 near our property, where our property is located. So let's find out what RU190 is. For that, we're going to go to Maricopa County Ordinances and Regulations. So I'm going to click on Regulations, and actually I'm going to look at zoning, so I'll just search for zoning. We'll scroll down until we see zoning ordinance, and you can see this brings us into Chapter 5. And Chapter 5 for us is important because these are rural zoning districts, and this one was RU190 if you remember. So when we read through this, you'll see the purpose of RU190 and what you can build on it. Principal purpose of the zoning district is to conserve and protect farms and other open land uses, foster orderly growth in rural areas, prevent urban and agricultural land use conflicts, and encourage sustainable development. Primary purpose of requiring large minimum lots of not less than 190,000 square feet in the areas to discourage small lot or residential subdivisions where public facilities are not available. And when we look down under use regulations, we'll see there's only one single family dwelling per lot of record in an RU190. So if you're going to build a homestead, you can't put more than one home on it at a time unless you go to the county and try to subdivide it, and that could take some time. Other things that can be put out here are churches, houses of worship, gardens, community gardens, group homes for not more than 10 people, public and private forests, wildlife reserves. If you're going to service the public by providing water, gas, electricity, cable, television, telephone, you can put that out there. Golf courses, libraries. And another thing, in order to sort of limit the amount of people that are living on this RU190 property, home occupations, you can have an office or a business inside this property. But so the number of persons who are employed in connection with the occupants, but who are non-residents of the dwelling on the property in which the business operates, shall not exceed 3, unless it's a close family member, either by adoption or by blood. So you can see that they add some strictures in here to keep this sort of pristine rural area not to be developed further. So while we're in Chapter 5, let's scroll all the way down. We're going to go to RU43, and I'm going to show you the difference. If this 4-acre property happened to be zoned as RU43, you're going to see a difference here. And that is, you can have 1 acre per dwelling unit. So if you had 4 acres out there, then you could put 4 different properties out there. The use regulations are the same as RU190. I'm actually working on a property right now which is fairly close to Phoenix. Let me bring up a map. And that's in this area of the valley. It's just off 60 and the 303. Across the street on 163rd, we have a lot of new homes going in there. But in this area, it hasn't been overly developed. And so some of this land out here can be used for more than one home. And there's actually a 5-acre lot out there that we're going to subdivide into 2.5 acres each and put a home on each one. We're waiting for the City of Surprise to do that. It's been a couple months. So if you're going to buy 4 acres and you want to subdivide it, be prepared for sort of a long haul. It's not something you're going to do right away. You're going to have to get the city out there to take a look at it. For instance, in this one property, and I won't show you this exact property, but I'll show you an example of properties. So if this was the property here, one thing you're going to notice is there are washes that run through this area. If we had this acreage right here and we had a wash going through it, they would have to come out and do an engineering study to find out how close we could put a building to that wash. Another option is, since this is a natural wash, we could build a culvert underneath the roadway at our own expense in order to divert the wash and make sure that that natural flow remains. We cannot change it in any way, so we have to live with what is on the property itself. And that's another thing to consider, and that's why one of the tips was to walk the land. You definitely have to walk the land to see what it looks like and see what kind of flow you have during the monsoon season here in Phoenix. I ran through this pretty fast, but you can go back and pause and take a look at each of these, and the links are going to be in the description below for you to do your own land search, check your zoning, check the schools, and if they have any of the amenities listed inside those commercial sites like landsearch.com as far as water, sewer, electrical, etc. If you chose to use an agent, we can actually search in the MLS for all of those items and limit the search just like we did with the tags here. But at least we're going to come up with a list. So if you say that you wanted to be sure there's water on the property and electrical, we can search for that in the MLS for you. Save you a little bit of time of going through each one of these individual items to see if there's water and electrical on the land itself. Definitely, if you're the person who wants to do it yourself, God bless you, go ahead and do it. If you want to make it a little bit easier, that's why we're here. It's what we do. That's what our mission is, to make it easier to find these kind of places. And as always, if you have any questions like Jeremy did and you want to learn more about this, leave me a comment below, give me a call. We'll go out and have some coffee and chat about the market.